Jordan Poole, a.k.a. JP13, and Kyle Kuzma are poised to have career seasons. But how can the young guys grow? We're going to look at three main ways that Kyle Kuzma and Jordan Poole can do their thing, and the young guys can also develop at the same time. Next on Locked On Wizards.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy Brandon Scott again, and I appreciate you guys making Locked On Wizards your first listen every single day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. And tonight's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. All right, everybody. Tonight, we're going to look at, I believe that Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma are both going to have career seasons. But how's development still the name of the game for the Washington Wizards? So we're going to look at three main reasons or three main ways that Kyle Kuzma and Jordan Poole can do their thing and the young guys can still develop. And we're going to take a look at Corey Kispert. What do we do with Corey Kispert? That's the big question, right? Do we keep him? Do we sign him to a long-term deal? Or what do we do with my man, Corey Kispert? So we're going to talk about that. All right, so again, I hope everybody had a blessed and safe weekend. I know I did. I didn't do anything. I just kind of chilled at the house, man. And then real quick before we start, again, shout out to my man, DJ, man, host of the Chocolate City Hoops podcast, man. He had me on there as a guest Friday, had a ball, man. I know he's a long-time viewer and listener to the show, man. So again, my man DJ, appreciate you, bro, for inviting me. And again, guys, definitely check out Chocolate City Hoops podcast on YouTube. Must see TV, man. You know, like I said, I was on there. First guest was the real Ed Oliver. I know you guys know him, right? Yeah, both of them were really good episodes, man. So again, definitely check him out. I believe next month, the next guest, I can't talk today, guys. The next guest will be Matt Moderno, man. So for you guys who are a big Bullets Forever fans and believe in Wizards fans, definitely look for that, man. I'm a big fan of Matt, man, so definitely looking for that. All right, let's get into it, guys. Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma, I believe they're going to have career seasons. So let's take a look at their stats real quick. Jordan Poole last year. Now, we know Jordan Poole struggled last year, but I believe that the second half really canceled the first half out because as sixth man, he did his thing, and then when Tyus Jones went down with a back injury, he assumed starting point guard role, and he played really, really well, man. So let's take a look at my man JP13 this season. Now he played around 30 minutes a game, so that's a kind of expect from a starter or a guy who played as a six man. Shooting 32.6% from three. Okay, so we're gonna talk about that. I get it. We know what the issue is with that, but let's go over the stats real quick. Free throw percentage 87.7%, so not too bad. He did have average around 4.4 assists a game. Definitely want to see that number go up if he's gonna be our point guard, starting point guard for the next 3 years, man. So and let's see, he averaged around 2.4 turnovers. So definitely want to get the turnovers down, man. Definitely. That's another issue he's had this previous season, turnovers, man. But you know, here's the thing, you know, like I said, we're gonna get into it, but him not having really a defined role, there's a lot of factors. He had an up and down season. I think we all know that. But I believe he's gonna have a career season. I definitely think he's gonna have a career season, man. So and he did average 17.4 points a game. So you know, he averaged 17 points a game, and he had a really, really up and down season. I mean, obviously, the best part of his season was the second half. I think he's going to average 20 plus. That's my humble opinion. And what factors? Number one, put him at point guard, I think, is going to bring that up. Now, he's got to bring the turnovers down, right? He's got to bring them down. You know, he's got to, and looking at my list real quick, the three main reasons, and I have the same reasons for both him and Kyle Kuzma. So what are my official three reasons or three ways that he can have a career season and still utilize other players and make them better? Number one, efficiency. Efficiency was a problem with both Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma last year. Shot attempts were up, and I get it. They were the number one and number two options this previous season, and they're going to be the number one and number two option this season. So, you know, the script is the same. You know, these are our number one and number two option as far as scoring, man. And they should be. I mean, like I said, they both shown that they could be high-level scorers in the NBA. So, I mean, if you pick any two guys on the roster right now, Kyle Kuzma and Jordan Poole are going to be your top two scorers, and they should be because they've both shown they can do it at a high level. Now, but efficiency has to get better. Has to get better, man. Has to get better. You know, they have to shoot high percentage shots. They cannot rush shots. The transition threes, shooting threes early on in the shot clock, they have to go away. They have to learn. Now I get it. No, the offense is going to be fast. And looking at Jordan Poole, if you have that shot, if it's a high percentage shot that you're going to take the three in transition, take that shot. I'm not saying don't take it, but a lot of times he was rushing the shot. A lot of times he was shooting with a hand in his face. A lot of times, he was shooting shots that are very low percentage shots. Efficiency has to get better with Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma if they indeed want to have their cake and eggs in any of the two, which means for them to have that rope as far as capability on offense, they've got to, at the same time, they have to find ways to make other people better. Because, yes, Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma are going to be the number one and number two options, but the name of the game right now for a young and rebuilding Wizards team is we have to prioritize minutes for these young guys. Bilal Coulibaly, Alex Sarr, obviously all of them, but the biggest two you're looking at that need minutes out of the gate is going to be Bilal Coulibaly and Alex Sarr. And you have to, really, their games right now are dependent on players like Jordan Poole, especially if he's going to be the starting point guard, which I think all arrows point to that. And Kyle Kuzma has a lot of responsibility offensively. So getting in number two real quick, which is utilize shot clock. I get it. We're going to be a faster team, or hopefully we're going to be a faster team. But there's times where if you're in half-court set, you have to utilize the shot clock. Very often than not, and not so much under Brian Keefe, and it was an issue overall with both coaches, but not so much with Brian Keefe as opposed to Wesley Sell Jr., but the lack of running plays. They have to run plays. They have to run plays, and they have to, have to run plays. You know what I mean? So, they have to utilize the shot clock. Very often, not the last 2-3 years, is a lot of hot potato, where they would run the clock down, or where am I getting at? Like they would run the clock down, or they would not utilize it, where, 3-4 seconds in the shot clock, they're shooting the ball. You have to utilize the shot clock. That, and then in the case of running it down, have plays run up. They have to have plays run up, especially, JP13 and Kyle Kuzma have to have plays run up, man. Looking at not utilizing the shot clock, shooting too early in the shot clock, you're killing us because, you have to let the offense set up. You have to let the offense run through itself, man. And they were not doing that. They were, one possession, two possessions, they were shooting the ball. And you're not, there was a very big lack of ball movement. And that was a big issue we had last year, was the total lack of ball movement. We have to get ball movement a lot more central to this offense, man. And how do you get there? Utilize the shot clock. So this list really goes for both Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma. So real quick, let's look at Kyle Kuzma's stats last season, because I believe he's also going to have a career season, because all arrows, again, just like all arrows are pointing towards Jordan Poole being a starting point guard, looks like Kyle Kuzma is going to be on the wing, man, at small forward. He played a lot of power forward, especially in LA and Washington, but I think that with Alex Sarr potentially starting at power forward, you're going to see Kyle Kuzma at the three, and I think that's going to be the best place for Kyle Kuzma because he's going to eat on the wing. Looking at him real quick, he averaged around 32.6 minutes a game. He shot 46.3% from field goal, 33.6% from three. So efficiency in the high percentage shots, it was an issue with Kyle Kuzma also. Free throw percentage was 77.5%. Definitely want to see that going up. Rebounds, I do like the numbers, 6.6. Love him to be around 7 because with his size. 4.2 assists. So, again, he can assume that role of point forward that Denny Avia had. Definitely bring the ball up at times and definitely, get more involved with the offense flowing through him. Let's see. And points, he scored 22.2 points. So, again, another 20-point campaign. Now, you're probably asking yourself, if he already averages 22.2 points a game, where he could go from here? I think Kyle Kuzma can average 24 to 25 points a game. And how does he get there? Same reasons I was looking at with Jordan Poole, man. Efficiency. If he becomes a more efficient player, you're going to see a lot more points, man. People often think that more attempts equals more points. I mean, to a certain degree, you're right, but that's not a high efficient game, and you're not making anybody else better. Because I'm going to tell you guys how it makes the young guys better with these three areas, man. So, again, you want to see him a lot more efficient, and I think he can get there. I mean, obviously, looking at his numbers, let's get back into it. He shot 46.3%. So field goal percentage wasn't bad. We know what Kyle Kuzma can do. He can utilize his frame and attack the basket. And looking at that, that definitely is a way to make other people better. His field goal percentage is right where I wanted it to be. 3-point percentage, I think he can get up to 35 to 36%, but he has to be a lot more efficient. I think, and both him and Jordan Poole both need to be a lot more efficient as players, man. To utilize shot clock again, and the biggest thing with both of these guys, the big question is what? How, if you're Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma, how do you use your game to create for others? Well, they're scorers. They're scorers, man. So if you are a more efficient scorer, then defenses are going to pay a lot more attention to you. If you look at that last year, efficiency was an issue. So a lot of teams were letting them sit back there and shoot threes. Especially looking at Kyle Kuzma, that he was way too dependent on 3-point shooting and jump shots overall. And then a lot of teams have said, look, do your thing, shoot. If you're more efficient, you're more of a threat. If you're more of a threat, defense is going to put more pressure on you. If defenses put more pressure on you, then you can utilize other people. And that's how you guys like Bilal Coulibaly, guys like Bub Carrington, guys like Alex Sarr, that's how they get better. Looking at Kuz with his size, with his ability to attack the basket. And the same thing with Jordan Poole, with their ability to attack the basket, they can easily collapse defenses and utilize shooters, man. Corey Kispert, shoot on the outside. Bilal Coulibaly, he's going to have those looks. What makes a young guy like Alex Sarr and Bilal Coulibaly better? About getting those touches, man. And if their ability, and if Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma can both be efficient scoring threats, then you're going to definitely open it up for guys like Bilal to get more touches and improve and develop. Alex Sarr, especially on the offensive end with his jump shot, more opportunities to get touches and improve and develop. So I think that those are the ways that they help other guys get better. We know that JP13 and Kyle Kuzma are scoring-minded guys. Get all that. That's why we love you, man. That's why they're such central parts of our team. But we have to find ways for them to make other people better. And that's how you do it. Become more efficient players. And when you become more efficient, you get a lot more attention from defenses. Getting back to Kyle Kuzma, very, very good scorer. Look at his size, 6'9", 6'10". He can definitely use his size to put himself in the best position to score. But the biggest thing with him and Jordan Poole, again, is development has to be key with this team. We are a young rebuilding team. So we had to prioritize touches and minutes for these young guys. And we know that JP13 and Kyle Kuzma are going to be our number one and number two option. But for them to have their cake and eat it too, they have to become more efficient players. And thus, when they become more efficient players, their skill set, which is scoring, is going to create for others, man, because they're going to become more. They're going to get a lot more attention from defenses, man. So we're going to look at Corey Kispert real quick, guys, and then we're going to look at the itinerary for the rest of the week. A lot of good content coming your way. So before we do, tonight's episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. So as you guys know, for all you longtime listeners and watchers, man, you guys all know that I'm a big catalyst when it comes to counseling, asking for help, talking to somebody, whether it's counseling, whether it's just talking to a really good friend, whether it's talking to your parents, whether it's talking to your spouse. It's good to talk to somebody. But look, BetterHelp has got you, man. So look, if you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try because it's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Those are all reasons why people really don't get into counseling, right? Online, that means, flexibility, convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Schedule is a big reason too, is that a lot of people wonder, how can, where can I place counseling into my schedule? In a world, especially in the United States where, work, very busy lifestyle for most of us, man. How do I add that to my schedule? Look, BetterHelp's got you. Just fill out the brief questionnaire and get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Lord, another good reason, right? So look, never skip therapy day with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. Thank you for making Locked On Wizards your first listen of the day. For your second listen, enjoy the Locked On NBA podcast. There is no offseason in the NBA, and Locked On NBA provides daily basketball analysis from national and local experts in 30 minutes or less. No one keeps you as informed and entertained as Locked On NBA. Available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. All right, everybody, let's get back into it. Corey Kispert, man. This has been an offseason with a lot of turnaround when it comes to players, man. Trades, the list goes on. 3 new young men that are added to the foundation, the young foundation it is for the Washington Wizards. But Corey Kispert, looking at moves already made by the organization, Rui Hachimura, Denny Avia, Both of them were Tommy Shepard picks. They're already on new teams, both in the Western Conference, right? So looking at Corey Kispert, what are the three options we have with Corey Kispert, and what option do I want to roll with? And again, as always, guys, definitely get in the comment section. Let me know what you guys are thinking. But three options with Corey Kispert. All right, number one, team-friendly extension. Keep him, right? Okay. Now, right now, we don't know what the asking price is for Corey Kispert. He very well could have a high asking price because, look, Corey Kispert ain't no scrub. I mean, we know what he can do. Corey Kispert is a guy who obviously he's that sniper, that three-point shooter, but, he can cut to the basket. He can slash to the basket. His ball handling is much improved. His defense, much improved. And his basketball IQ is through the roof. It always has been. Gonzaga product. Looking at his stats this previous season, he did average 13.4 points a game, 2.8 rebounds, 2 assists, and he shot 48.6% from the field. Not too shabby at all. 3-point percentage, 38.3%. Come on now. Now, one statistic I do want to see him improve, man. His career average at free throw at the charity strike is 79.2. This previous season, he did shoot 72.6. Got to bring that number up, my man. Got to bring it up. Rebound numbers, not too bad. 2.8 rebounds, 2 assists, and obviously half a steal a game. Now, turnovers, 1.2 in turnovers, not too much of a concern. But you're definitely going to see that number maybe rise a little bit with him assuming more responsibility as far as ball handling. Now, Corey Kispert, what can I realistically expect of him before we get into the other options? Well, I think that you could definitely see him average 15 points a game. I think last year he averaged 13. I think he can average 15. I think because he's that guy on the second unit. He's that electric scorer, that microwave scorer that we need. I think he's going to fit that role coming off the second unit, man. So I would like to see him score around 15 points a game. Now, in a free throw percentage, I definitely want to see at least come up to, 72 last year. You want to see him around 80%, especially for a guy who's a shooter. Definitely want to see 80 to 85%, man, free throw. For a guy who's definitely going to put the ball on the floor a lot more, get to the basket and getting a lot more foul calls, he's got to get better at the charity strike, man. But shooting numbers, 30.3%, I'm not too upset. You could very well see him shoot 40% plus from three-point range because he's a threat. He's a definite threat. So looking at those statistics, we already explored that, signing him to an extension and keeping him. Right now, we don't know what his asking price is. And, looking at the salary cap situation with the Wizards, now it obviously is fluctuating and subject to change because future moves are definitely going to happen, especially when you look at Jonas Valanciunas and other guys as far as veterans who could be moved. Malcolm Brogdon making 22.5. So a lot of money will be freed up, especially at the deadline when we move on from Malcolm Brogdon and Jonas Valanciunas. We'll see when it comes to Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma. They could be here for a while. And in the case of Jordan Poole, I think he's definitely the starter at point guard, at least for the next 3 years. But, like I said, in future videos, we're going to explore ways where him above may be able to share a backcourt. But right now, JP13 is the man at point guard and should be. And Kyle Kuzma, obviously a lot of factors that could keep him here as well as move on from him. So it's 50-50, with that. But other players are definitely on the chopping block. Marvin Bagley third, aspiring deal. Rashawn Holmes, very team-friendly deal. So, look, Corey Kispert, they could re-sign him. Now, do I see them re-sign before the season? We'll see. It kind of slides into the second point. Re-signing him to a team-friendly extension and maybe flipping him like they did Deni Avdija. They very well could take that route because, yeah, they could very well extend him and keep him, which is the option I would like. He's a guy that, you need a shooter. You need a shooter on your team. Keyshawn George is definitely a shooter in Buck Carrington, but they're young and he's still developing. You need a veteran guy. And Corey Kispert is that veteran shooter. Every team needs one. And I think we need to keep him. Now, obviously, it goes to asking price, but you could argue, would his asking price be that much more than Deni? Because Deni had a breakout campaign. I think they could get it done. I don't think he's going to ask for too much. He's definitely a guy that he has a skill set that not only do the Washington Wizards need it, but every team needs a shooter, a veteran shooter. And I think he could definitely be an asset in trade talks. But I'm in favor of keeping him, signing to an extension and keeping him. But you could very well go into the second option and re-sign him to a team-friendly deal and flip him like they did Deni Avdija. Because Deni Avdija had probably the best contract in the NBA, and we were able to trade back into the lottery by trading him. Now, we're not going to, like I said, I ain't going to get into whether it was a good move. And I think the ship has sailed. If you're still talking about the Deni being traded, I don't know what to tell you, man. I think the ship is sailed. You got to look at the roster for what it is. But they could take that direction with Corey Kispert, sign him to a team friendly deal, and flip him. All right, option number 3, y'all. The restricted free agent route, right? They very well could not re-sign him and see if they can retain him through restricted free agency. But then you're looking at, look, he's going to be a commodity. And they will have the ability to match deals, but then that could be an expensive venture. You know, looking at what's the best example of that? Otto Porter Jr. They should have let him walk to the Brooklyn Nets, but they didn't. And by retaining him, we went over the cap. And we had a really expensive team that wasn't really ready to contend. I mean, they were a playoff team, obviously, with Bradley Beal, John Wall. But, you know, Otto Porter was not that third guy of a big three that was really going to push you the challenge in the East. And you could argue we should have just let him walk to Brooklyn. I would have. So looking at that, you know, another team could make it expensive to keep. So I think the best route. Now, there are 2 good options. You know, like I said, I'm not in favor of trading him, but you could, again, sign him to a team-friendly deal and flip him. And you very well could just re-sign him and have a really good shooter, a high basketball IQ player on your team. So I think you win either way with Corey Kispert. But I'm very hesitant to wait till restricted free agency because he's going to have some value. This team's going to want to have a Corey Kispert on the team, and it can make it an expensive venture for us, man. And like I said, you know, obviously we could free up money. I mean, Malcolm Brogdon is making 22.5. You know, Valanciunas is making 9.9. Other players here could be on the chop block. Again, Marvin Bagley, 12.5. So we could definitely free the money up, but then do you really want to break the bank for a guy who, yeah, he's a shooter, but he's not, you know, he could be a spot starter, but he's not like a building block, right? So you don't want to pay too much for a guy who, you know, right now is looking like he could be a role guy. So I'm in favor of keeping Corey Kispert. I think he can definitely be a really nice piece to the Washington Wizards' future. We need a shooter. He's shown that he could be that shooter, 38% from 3 last year. So I think we can all agree that Corey Kispert has been a really good player since coming to Washington. And I think that we need to keep him. But he has enough value where we could definitely sign him on the cheap and flip him to a team for some assets, because I think you could very well maybe get a first-round pick for him. We'll see. Right now, I definitely think we get some assets back for him. So we're going to end on this note, guys. I got another ad, but guys, we're going to get into what's the itinerary for the rest of the week, guys. So before we get into the itinerary for the rest of the week, tonight's episode is brought to you by Gametime. So you guys know, if you watch the show, listen to the show, you know I'm a sports fanatic. I go to games all the time. Baseball season, I'm in Cannon Yards and Nationals Park. Minor league games, college games. I love it, man. I love it. Basketball, obviously the Wiz, but also my George Mason Patriots, baby. And then football, rocking with my Commanders, rocking with the DC Defenders, and I rock with James Madison, man, in football and the NCAA. So, look, I've gone through all the ticket apps, and to me, Game Time is the best one. And there's 3 reasons why. Number 1, Game Time picks. Curation makes it easier to save more on sports, but also concerts, comedy shows, theater events, etc. What else? The lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. That is big, because you don't see that from anybody else. And I ain't gonna name drop nobody. And finally, Game Time ticket coverage. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticket industry. So look, do yourself a favor and take the guesswork out of buying concert tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. And terms apply. And again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNBA, LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, everybody, let's get back into it. So, all right, we're going to go through the itinerary for the rest of the week. As you guys know, if you don't know, I've stressed it a few times here. We are 2-3 episodes a week, so I'm looking to drop them Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. Something to change. Like I said, I did not drop a video this previous Friday because I was shout out again to my guy DJ. I'm on the Chocolate City Hoops podcast, so I was on the road. But I had a great time, man. So, you know, as you guys know, I love to do live videos on Fridays, man, because I love to kind of chop it up with you guys and to kind of start the weekend off right, man. So, itinerary for the rest of the week. I've asked you guys what you guys want to see, and what you guys want me to cover. I'm going to start getting into individual players and what are our expectations. You know, what is your role in offense and defense? What is your role in this team? So we're going to take a deeper look at that. We're going to take a look at JP13 this week. Is he the future point guard? Yes. I'm going to convince you guys, man. Like I said, I've been kind of waiting on that, man, but I'm definitely going to cover that, man. So like I said, a lot of good content coming your way. Like I said, I know it is the quiet period. We don't ramp back up till September 16th. So, but your boy's gonna put a lot of good stuff out there. And like I said, I've got a lot of good feedback as far as what you guys want to see. So this week we're gonna get heavy on player evaluations. We're gonna look at what to expect from players on the roster and what their role is going to be this upcoming season. And like I said, really Friday we're going to do a live topic. We're going to talk about JP13. Should he be considered the future at point guard, even with Bub Carrington? And I'm a big Bub Carrington fan, man. I definitely think he's a future point guard. But could they work in the same backcourt? We're going to explore that on Friday. So again, I appreciate you guys, man. And again, I hope you guys had a blessed weekend. I did. I didn't do too much, kind of chill at the crib with the fam, but definitely hope you guys had a safe and blessed weekend, man, and drink responsibly. So I will see you guys on Wednesday. Hail to the Wizards and peace. See you guys next time. God bless.